Ready or not, here we come. Rise for the rulers. You were in the presence of a legendary movement made for the great.
This oak knows what he's talking about.
And we fired up the level of revolution, yeah? Get louder, whole city crowd.
I paid off my debt.
Gates head first like a wild buck. No days off.
Thank you many times.
This works. It's changed my life. It is still changing my life.
You're going to see the difference in your life.
Welcome. We're going to be having a conversation about how not to be fucking average, and we are very honored and happy to have Justin here with us. Justin, welcome. Thanks for coming through.
Thank you. It's nice to be with you here in your big house.
Thank you.
With your hot wife and your fancy fucking cars. Living the dream.
I can give you the hot wife tag, but I can't give you the fancy car tag yet.
So you know how many acts give me on social media for this GWM?
To be honest, I like it.
Out of all the buckies, and I test drove all the buckies out there, the one I kept coming back to was this. And it's weird because I had this weird conflict. I'd say to my wife all the time, like, I can't believe I'm about to buy a Chinese bucky. And she said, where the f*** do you think your iPhone comes from? And then I was like, okay, I'm okay with this. I obviously don't talk about all the other stuff, but I've owned some amazing cars. I've owned 61 cars that are on people's dream list. I own a lot of stuff that most people could never even dream of having, and I don't post it on social media, but I love it. I enjoy the stuff, and I think, you know, a lot of people hear my message about being conservative with money, and that's only one part of the story. But the reason why I only tell that part of the story is because, well, most people are living with their heads in the clouds. You've got to get your money in order first, and there's no problem driving a Rolls Royce if you've got Rolls Royce money. The problem is most people are trying to drive the Rolls Royce with VW money, and that's where the problem is. So I'm trying to just give people foundational building blocks first. And I know there's enough people out there posting pictures of their fucking Lambos and shit. Like, I want to relate to people in their journey where they are right now. And perhaps over time I might reveal a bit more of my own personal shit at some point. I don't know. But I just feel we need to ground people.
So that's a big reason why I drive a Mustang. We wanted to buy two 911s.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm always fucking watching cars. I love cars.
Same.
I'm thinking about the Porsche, the Lambo. I'd like a Bentley, but I'm kind of not there yet. But there's lots of cars. I mean, as a man, that's, you know, probably one of my biggest things that when I fantasize, I spend time on cars and obviously watches. But the big reason why I drive a Mustang is because I want to resonate with people. It's probably the most loved car in the world. So that's why it was a strategic choice.
So I mean, I've owned lots of interesting cars and very top-end sports cars, and there's a big difference between a supercar, a sports car, and a muscle car. Yeah. And so I've owned a lot of American vehicles because I tend to I like the fight, I like the dog. Yeah, like a fucking accountant and a lawyer can have a Porsche. There's nothing wrong with it, but I just like a little bit more of the edgy shit. I like
my plotter.
Exactly. And I go back to my days when I used to street race. I used to street race cars, and I had Subarus and the STIs, and I worked the shit out of them. C63 AMGs, which is probably the only Merc that's really exciting. The older version of it. And those are fun cars to own because, you know, it's all about the dog in the fight. And, you know, you go to Porsche and it's exactly what you'd expect. I like something that's going to step out on me a bit, something that's going to make my balls tickle. And I think there's also something about buying personality in a car. So, you know, why arguably the best car on the road is probably a Toyota Corolla. You can't get better value for money. It's the greatest car on the road. But it's got no fucking personality. It's reliable, it's dependable, but I just don't want to shag it.
I like that. Yeah, Mustang. I'm going to change cars now, but I'm going to change from one Mustang to another Mustang. So I kind of.
And again, if we're talking Mustangs, I mean, there is only really one Mustang to own. If it's on your a Shelby, Brad. You got to get a Shelby. It's got to be in your stable if that's your thing. And then there's other things in that field like the Camaros and all this sort of thing. Like, and I actually owned a Dodge Viper at one point, which was probably one of my most exciting cars. V12. I used to call it all no balls. It was an amazing car to own. I owned it when I lived in the States, and that thing was a weapon like you can't believe, but completely impractical. And so the reason I'm up here in my beautiful GWM Chinese bucky is because I can fit shit on the back. I can fit all the kids inside. Have you ever been in the backseat of a 911?
No.
At first, it feels like you're giving yourself a if you're in the backseat, and secondly, it's claustrophobic.
Yeah.
It's a completely practical car. In fact, I would argue that a better car to own than the 911 is probably a GT4 in the 718 range. That's probably a better car to own because those back seats are a waste of time.
Yeah, they might as well leave it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll get there. You mentioned something earlier about you got banned at the casino.
Yeah, so I had a very good friend of mine, was an options trader, and we were struggling for bucks. We were just starting our business journeys, and both of us very fascinated by maths and equations, and so we worked out the odds on different games in the casino, and we realized the one game that totally can be in your favor if you understand how to work it is a roulette table. It's not cards and card counting because they shuffle enough decks in there. They can change the odds on you. But the roulette table is a very simple way to exploit a roulette table. It's called the law of probability. So if it goes, and a simple example, if it goes black 17 times in a row, the law of probability states that on the 18th or the 19th turn, it's more likely to go the opposite. That's the law of probability. So all you have to do is wait for the numbers to line up in a certain order, odds versus evens, high versus low, red versus black, and it's a 2-to-1 bet. So here's where the magic lies. You wait for it to go, let's say, 14, 15 times, and you start betting on the opposite. And then if you lose, you just keep doubling up on your bet. So the key thing is you got to have a decent purse with you to be able to keep doubling up, and you can literally never lose. I did lose big once. I couldn't believe it. The highest I ever went was 31 times on the same variable, right? And that night we lost big money because, I mean, you understand compounding. $50, $100, 200. By 30, you're out of pocket, right? But we used to comfortably make a couple of grand every night. And then the casinos got clever and they started issuing separate chips for every table. So we'd have 4 different kinds of chips for each pocket, right? These 2 in the front, these 2 in the back, and we'd just walk around waiting for the tables to turn, and we'd play the tables. And we used to clock 5, 6, 7, 8 grand a night. I mean, that was amazing. And then they obviously picked up what we were doing, and they're like, "Listen, you can't come here." And I didn't know this, but there's a database that all the casinos reciprocate. So we thought, we'll just go to the next casino. No, this bald head walked in there, and the radars went off, and that was the end of my game, man.
Sure.
And then I thought I'll be clever. I'll do online casinos. I got smashed on that because there's nothing natural in that roulette table.
We spoke about creativity earlier, and I mentioned to you, sometimes I go through a dip.
Yeah.
And it's I just actually found myself in the transition of a season.
Yeah.
And certain things that used to fuel me doesn't fuel me anymore. So now it's not a matter of I'm pressed or anything. It's just, okay, I'm changing. Now I've got to find some new things to do and refuel myself. What do you do to, recharge that energy, recharge your creativity?
Yeah, so I mean that's actually a fucking good question because I also live my life in seasons, and I actually have realized that living seasonally is very important to me because that is part of the thing. Change is something I'm constantly looking for. I can't handle routine. Routine kills me. So I, in my businesses, have been very intentional of setting up good people in the pipeline behind me to handle the monotony of business. And not a lot of people want to hear this, but to be successful in business, there's a lot of monotony. There's a lot of the same. And you need that engine room that pumps out the same. There's consistency is the key, right? I don't fit well in that cog at all. I tend to like the outside view. I tend to like looking in on the problem and problem solving. And so for me, it really comes down to making sure I'm uncomfortable. So I'm constantly pushing myself to do things that I don't traditionally feel comfortable with. It might be something as stupid as taking a ballroom dancing class, right? And what I often find is like that. Not that I can't dance for shit. I dance like a proper white man.
Me too.
But what I find is putting myself in those positions, it forces me to think off left brain versus right brain. It forces me out of the continuum of every day, and it forces me into an uncomfortable place where I'm forced to interact with people I might not necessarily interact with. And then the other part that I'd say is really critical for me, and I said it at last night's meetup, I encourage everybody to do this. Go and spend some time traveling alone. I do some weird shit sometimes. I'll go to a Buddhist fucking monastery and I'll go hole up there for 7 days, or go climb a mountain. I could do some weird shit. But I find spending time alone is a very good catalyst. We were talking about earlier, we are often a direct product of our input sources. So the things around us typically shape the way we think and feel. I mean, you can say it doesn't, but if you wake up next to your wife and she's grumpy, that energy transfers to you.
Oh, definitely.
So everything is energy and it transfers to us. So I try to go and do something on my own. One of the things that drives a lot of, I'd say on a deep spiritual level, not a religious point of view, but like, you know, when you feel that feeling like I took a shower and I feel refreshed, is to go surfing. Surfing, and not just normal surfing. I got to be on the edge of death. Like I like big wave surfing. So winter season when the waves are pumping and I could probably die. And I always say to Andrea, my wife, when I come out of those sessions, I always say, "Fuck, I feel alive. I nearly died." and that refreshes me. I don't, the spa days and fucking taking a holiday and sitting on a beach and shit, that doesn't work for me.
No, it stresses me out even more.
Me too, because I'm thinking about the time lost and I get irritated.
Irritated and frustrated.
Yeah.
No, definitely. I end up working on holidays.
Me
like
too.
We went away for a week and I just eventually came to a point I said, F it, and I started doing consultations there at the resort. Some of the people that wanted to see me, I just gave them the address and I did some of my consultations over there.
I'll actually tell you a great story on that. So I sold a business which retired me effectively. I was very young, just a little bit younger than you are right now. Like just hit 30s. And if you understand, the reason why I'm saying it is so you can relate to where you are in your age. Imagine you get to a point where you've got so much money that you actually don't have to do anything for the rest of your life. There's no reason to wake up. And I kind of got to that point and I was like, okay, day 1, walk the dog. Day 2, go to the beach. Day 3, walk the fucking dog again. Day 4, it's raining at the beach. What do we do now? Phone up my ex-business partners, like, guys, I'm going to go fucking insane. I'm going to become a drug addict or an alcoholic. One of the two. And the best decision I ever made is I took all that money, I locked it up for 5 years so that I couldn't touch it. I made myself broke. And I actually had to go start businesses again. And it's the best decision I ever made. I have no fucking intention of ever retiring. Ever.
Well, man has to go to war. If
100%.
If you're not doing warfare, then what's the point?
One of my great mentors passed away today. Raymond Ackerman. One of my greatest mentors.
Sure.
I had the benefit of mentoring under him and learning from him and understanding cash flow and understanding the deep cycles of business. And I bumped into Raymond on a flight. I was sitting in economy, he was sitting in business, and I sort of schmoozed my way into business class, got sitting next to him. And he told me a lot of things that trip, but he said one thing that stuck with me. He said, always have something to retire to. I've watched my friends retire and die. And that stuck with me my whole business career so far. And I don't think I'll ever let go of it. I fucking have no intention to sit on my ass and do nothing.
Well,
So I think you're probably the same. Like a mental escape for me is needed, but it's not so much as the absence of thought, but just a different line of thought.
yeah, I need a fight. If I'm not fighting something, it's sad, but it's also what keeps me going. If there's no fight to be fought, then I don't have any purpose. I don't know what to do with myself. Me and Vickers found ourselves in the same situation because both of us, to a good extent, got financial freedom.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't have to do anything, and the bills will be paid. you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
We have everything in place to not need to go and chase something, but what it's like you chase this dream, right? I want the financial freedom. I wanna have the fuck you money. Not that I don't think we got fuck you money yet, but at least we can say fuck you to most people.
Okay, but here's the interesting debate, right? Because this is something we talk about a lot. We talk about financial freedom. What is financial freedom? And I always say it's very relative to your situation. If for you financial freedom is the bills paid and you live in a nice house and you're surrounded by family, you've got some vegetables in the garden, that picture is very different. Like if you had that paid for. So let's say that lifestyle costs you let's just say 50,000 a month, and you find a way to make that 50,000 without having to exchange labor. It comes at you no matter what. Let's say, for example, you were able to acquire capital that brings that money every month. That arguably is financial freedom, right? And so that person is financially free to their circumstances. And when we talk about retirement, I talk about financial retirement, not physical retirement. And you can retire when you get to a point where your non-earned income replaces your earned income. That's true financial liberation, emancipation. Now, for some of us, that might be a lot bigger. For some of us, it might be a lot smaller. For me, when I was younger, that number was a lot bigger. And then when I started to realize all this material shit is meaningless, because the fucking car gets old, the fucking building is going to decay, like everything eventually is gonna be something that returns to the scrap heap of life. Then I started to realize, well, actually, what I'm actually chasing is not a lifestyle, but it's actually freedom. And if I'm chasing freedom, I can make freedom at any level, right? I can make it at a 50 grand level, 100 grand level, 200 grand level. And so then the question becomes, why do you keep chasing? Why do you keep building? Why do you keep creating? And I think it's either hardwired into you or it's not. And so I'm not saying everybody should be like us. In fact, my argument would be that this is the worst path you could ever choose, to try and be like us. Because when you're wired like this, there's just something that's broken. There's something that's broken in us that we're constantly chasing. And as much as we can do the meditation and the fucking happy work and all of that, no amount of money in the bank is ever going to go, I've arrived.
Yeah, that's the fuck up. So that was what I was getting to. You know, us reaching this level of success, we eventually got to a point we didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck do I do now? I can buy anything I want.
Yep.
Apart from a jet or a plane or a yacht, you know. But I can eat wherever I want. I can drive wherever I want. I can, except a Bugatti. What color is your Bugatti? But I mean, there's not much. You think that when you have money, you know, the world's going to be glamorous. It's going to be this dopamine, the state of being or getting a dopamine hit all the time, and it's not. And that's why I'm saying, you know, I need the fight. There has to be a fight. And sometimes, when I was younger, I can see now, looking back, and sometimes even till this day, I create crises subconsciously. I'll create a crisis
100%.
Because I need something to solve.
Yep.
My mind gets a dopamine hit in a crisis.
Well, my business partners have a saying. They say, don't bring him anywhere near the business when things are going well, because he'll f it up. I'll find a problem. I'll create the problem.
Yeah.
They know now to point me towards a real problem. So I say this proudly, as much as I'm a big catalyst to the stuff we've built, it's really my team that have built the stuff. Right? I'm just the idea man. I'm the person who comes up with the concepts. But they know that if something's running well and I get involved, I'm probably going to fuck it up, because I go looking for problems. It is just hardwired into me. And so, you know, this thing about a dopamine hit, what you realize is it's a lot like doing fucking antidepressants. So I'm depressed, take an antidepressant. So you pop that first antidepressant, now you stop being depressed. Then you got to fucking take 2, because, you know, it compounds you, like, and then you need to take 4, and then you need to take 5, and then you stop taking them, and you're like, oh fuck, now I'm really fucking depressed. Money's a lot the same way. Money's exactly the same fucking way. You get that first car and it's amazing. You get the second car and it's pretty fucking great. You get the third, but you got to keep buying a bigger and bigger fucking thing until you get to the point you go, well, there's nothing that makes me hard anymore. And so that's when you have to step away from the material aspects of this money journey, and you've got to go, what truly fucking makes me happy? And what truly makes you happy has got all to do with money. This is why one of the 11 principles I teach about money is fucking figure yourself out. Figure yourself out. I spoke about being authentically me. I know a lot of people don't like me. I know a lot of people are just, women especially, the wives of husbands generally fucking hate me, because I'm telling the men to be men.
Yeah.
It's important to step into authenticity and be unapologetically you, because when you do that, you truly find what makes you happy. And also you attract your tribe. That's the other thing. It's about being around people who share similar values to you. Like, listen, no disrespect to fucking gamers out there, but I ain't going to get a hard-on for a gaming night. I can relate to a lot of people, but it's not my thing. I want to go jump off I want to go high adrenaline impact shit. That's what I chase. And so it's important to know what makes you happy. And part of knowing what makes you happy is about knowing what you don't fucking want. People so focus on what they want. It's about what you don't want that actually makes you happy.
Yeah. And eliminating that from your life.
100%.
I think one of the things that we, let's say in the past 2 years, did in our business that fucking made everything explode was to get a able, willing and loyal team.
For sure.
Right? And like I said to you, I think this is going to piss some people off because it almost sounds contradicting or it makes people's minds glitch. But I found that the less I do, the more money I make.
Fact. Fact. I've always said that the more money that comes to me, the lazier I make it.
The money or?
No, the lazier it is for me to make that money. I don't have to put in effort.
Yeah.
It comes effortlessly. And I think that's part of the business formula that we're not taught. We are taught hard work. Now listen, anybody who's employed by me, please continue to work hard. But peasants should be hard workers, right? Slaves should be hard workers. And this is what the ecosystem works on. The most successful people financially do all work. They're number one, ideas people. Number two, they're connectors, networking. And number three, they're an allocator of resources. When people say they're working so fucking hard, I know they're poor. I have found that those exchanging the most amount of labor are often getting the least amount of return.
Yeah.
And that's no disrespect to anyone who's in a job and trying to grind their way up the ladder. Because listen, you all have to start somewhere.
Yeah.
You've got to put in the hard work first. But I think the narrative that we've sold at school is like, if you work harder, you'll be more successful. And that's a fucking bullshit story.
If you work smart.
You've got to work smarter. And you've got to figure out how to get to the money in the shortest route possible.
As a youngster, my father, he'd get pissed off with me a lot of times.
Yeah.
And he used to call me shortcut.
Yeah, because you're so fucking short.
No. Because I was always looking for the easiest way, the
100%.
easiest, quickest way to solve it. Now, for me, that's probably been one of my superpowers.
Yeah, for sure.
In my life, because I try to always, and even now in my business, and I wish I knew this earlier, because one of the biggest things that I struggled with was to say, okay, I'm going to let go and I'm going to outsource. A lot of times people think they don't want to outsource because it's going to cost them money, and they argue with themselves. They almost justify it that I can't outsource. But it's not that. The deeply rooted fear that's preventing them from outsourcing is they don't want to hand over the control. They don't want
That's
to
what I was
let
going to
go.
say. I don't think the problem is, and I speak from my own journey, I can't speak to anyone else. It's never been about the money. I don't mind paying for something, right? It's giving up the control. It's that whole mental shift about nobody can do the job better than me. Well, I'll get news for you. Not only can people probably do it better than you, but do you fucking really want the job?
Yeah.
That's the question. Having said that, I'm a big proponent for when you start businesses that you need to be in the engine room. You need to be part of the machinery. You need to understand the problems. You need to understand the customer life cycle. So every business I've built, I've always started in that engine room with the team. And I had a great mentor, who's also another one who passed away a couple of weeks back. He used to rock up on a building site. He was in construction, and he'd pull up in his Rolls Royce and he'd take his 100,000 rand jacket off, throw it over the bonnet and get in the trenches and dig with his staff. And I said to him, why the fuck do you do that, George? I don't understand. And he said, well, first of all, it's to keep me grounded with the problem. Second of all, it's to inspire my team. And so I think there are aspects we can take from it. You can't just be one of these disconnected fucking oaks who sits back in an ivory tower.
Yeah.
And we've seen these people. If you've been in business, you've seen them. The CEO who has no fucking idea what's happening on the ground. So I think we must also not dilute the point. Like, yes, at some point you need the resources to do the work for you, but you must know what the fuck you're doing in the first place.
Yeah. And check on it. I
100%.
check on the engine. I check the oil and everything
Yeah.
every single morning.
100%.
And I fully agree with that. What you just said about your mentor. Like the sales team started 5xing their sales targets, or their sales when or after I showed them how I do it. They know, each and everybody in my organization knows that I'll fucking outsell them every day of the week and twice on Sundays. So I fully agree with that.
And I would argue that you should never run a business unless you know how to do sales. That would be my argument.
Yeah, well, if you don't know sales, then you
Like people say about Elon Musk is not a salesman. He's not a salesman, but he's one of the greatest marketers in the world. Steve Jobs wasn't a great salesman, but he's a great marketer. And marketing and sales go hand in hand. If you do marketing well, there is no sale. It's order taking, right? And so it's about positioning to take orders. But I think one of the biggest risks that people have is I think, well, if I'm a good accountant, I'll be a good business owner. In fact, some of the worst business owners are accountants and lawyers because they don't understand the skill of selling. And if you don't know how to fucking sell, don't go into business.
No, but once again, you need to know yourself. That's something you hammer on hard as well. Know yourself, because if you can understand and know yourself, then you can be aware of your shortcomings and your strengths. If you know that you are not a good salesman, number one, you're not good at it because you don't fucking do it.
Yeah.
And number two, start doing it and start consuming knowledge and content on how you can improve. Somebody, if any problem that you have on the face of this planet, somebody has had that problem, they've created a solution, and they wrote a fucking book about it.
In fact, I would go a step further. I say if you wanna make the biggest change in your life career wise, go and do 1,000 cold calls. It'll fucking change your life. You need to get 990 rejections to fucking build character.
Yeah.
Right? You got to get to a point where so we got a fucking funny saying in our family: nobody must ever say no to me, because you're gonna have to fucking justify your no. And I'm gonna dig until you got no fucking reason to say no anymore. Because part of objection handling, right, is figuring out the why. And when you figure out the why, you can objection handle. And this is a fucking soft skill that we should be taught at school. I really believe finance and sales is something that should be taught at school.
Absolutely.
And so I teach my kids to ask for the same thing a fucking 1,000 different ways. When I was a kid, I was always trying to shag a teacher. I was always trying to fucking shag a girl older than me. And I had some wonderful times because I used to just go and find out how to ask that same question a different way. I mean, I holed up with my librarian. She was 26 and I was 16. It was beautiful, right?
Beautiful moments.
But she like rejected me 1,000 times, and I just had to figure out a way to objection handle. And so for me, when I'm trying to teach people about changing their financial lives, one of the things I always say is learn how to fucking sell. Learn how to take rejection, and learn how to take a piece of dog shit no and turn it into a yes. I mean, I walk in even today and people say, no, your ideas are crazy. I'm like, why? And by the time I've asked why 1,000,000 times, they've got no fucking reason left. I've had people I've watched people surrender to me and just go, okay, just fucking let's just do it. That's how I got my first big, I was telling you guys at the meetup last night, my first big break was doing sales with AIG in the States. I was fucking homeless, living on the streets. But for 6 months, I went into that office and I fucking refused to take no for an answer. I just refused.
Yeah, it's as simple as that. But I mean, you can say it 1,000,000 times to people, but most people they don't want to hear the truth.
Do you know why?
You said yesterday as well. People, there's things that people want to hear, and then there's things that they don't want to hear.
But you know why? You know why people don't want to hear it?
Tell me.
Because they're fucking sensitive. They're too fucking sensitive. We're not breeding warriors anymore. Everybody's told you can be a princess, you can be a fucking this, you can be a that. You can choose to be a fucking gender neutral pot plant. We're so concerned about everybody having their fucking moments in the sun. We need our men to go back to the military and get fucked up. I'm a military man. I went to the Navy. We got fucked up. And learning to take that getting fucked up is what makes you who you become. And we've got people who don't, the first little bit of rejection, the first little bit of pushback, and they fucking run a mile. I mean, we got corporates around the world, in this country especially, we got corporates who do fucking management sensitivity training. What the fuck is management sensitivity training? like come on. There comes a point where you need to understand your growth comes through pain. Growth comes through pain. That's whether it's selling, whether it's losing money, whether it's going through divorce. I'm in my second marriage. It took me one marriage to find my perfect marriage. A lot of people go, oh, you've been married twice. No, I've learned once and married once.
Yeah, it's not failure. People, I've said this a million times, but it doesn't seem to sink in. Failure is not a destination. It's people are seeing. It's people are seeing it as a final destination. You know, it's.
Do you
final.
get depressed?
Me?
Yeah. Do you
No.
ever get depressed?
No.
Are you talking shit? You never get depressed.
I feel down, but I don't get depressed.
Okay, so is it now? Let's phrase it in a way so that ordinary people can hear it. Because when you and I say the word depression, it's like ball cancer. We don't want to entertain that word. But let's use the word depressed, as in fucking down, upset, unhappy. Life's not going lekker today. I feel a little bit. Do you get depressed?
No, I refuse.
Okay, so here's the thing, and this is exactly my point. People have tried to pressure me my whole life and say, "Do you get depressed?" I say, "No." I have bad days. I have days where I want to fucking punch someone. I have days where I'm not happy. I'm days where I'm less happy than other days. But depression is a fucking state of mind that you choose.
Yeah.
Right? It is a state of mind. And I know the fucking foo-foo chick with a fucking chaise lounge out there who's going to charge you $500 an hour to talk about your past is going to disagree with me. But depression is something you can physically control. I promise you, if you're feeling about your day, get down and do 1,000 push-ups. You'll feel less. I promise you, it's a natural dopamine fucking release that happens. If someone is pissing you off in a room because there's bad energy, leave the room.
Yeah.
Okay, we have
You're
a
not a
choice.
fucking tree. Stand up and leave.
We have a choice, right? And I think we're getting to a point in society where we're dumbing people down to a point where they just believe any shit that's put across them. Yeah, have a fucking tablet, Marcius. You're feeling depressed. No, wait. Now you're too fucking happy. Let's give you a downer. So you just come normal. We're only too happy. We'll give you a bit of a barbiturate. So now you'll be chilled. No, it doesn't work like that.
I agree. The thing is, society and the way things are structured now, and I believe that's why a lot of people are referring to the Matrix. I can see that. I understand it completely. Because we are enabling people to be a bunch of fucking wussies. We are enabling people and telling them it's okay, it's not your fault, you don't have control, it's a disease, it's this, it's that. We will give you something to help you. You gotta go look for your happy place or your salvation in a tablet or in therapy, and meanwhile all the power is within you.
But it's so much deeper, right? Because
a lot deeper.
So here's what happens: you get put into an education system which takes you out of the nucleus of your home. Mom must go work, dad must go work. You're being raised by an institution that's literally teaching you, brainwashing you how to think, teaching you a narrative of education and history that they want you to know. Then you get a plate of food that's full of fucking poison and sugar, that is already chemically fucking changing the way you operate. Then we watch TV programming and entertainment that puts us into a theta brainwave. That theta brainwave puts us in the most highly programmable state. Have you ever seen these fucking people
Yeah.
sit like that in front of a TV, in front of fucking TikTok, scrolling like mindless idiots? They literally have been programmed into theta. Now you're in theta and you're fucking operating, you're like software that we can fucking program. Then we tell you, this is the fucking charm of it all. Then we tell you, listen, you need to go get a good fucking education so you can get a job, so you can earn some money. Okay? And by the way, you can't grow your own fruit and veg. You can't provide your own food. We've commercialized it. So you need those little pieces of paper to go and fucking feed yourself. Okay? The stuff that is essentially for fucking free. By the way, whilst we're at it, we're gonna fucking give you some water that's full of fucking fluoride. So we absolutely calcify your pineal gland, so you're no longer able to think critically and use instinct to concentrate on the fucking shit show that's coming at you. And then you wake up at fucking 65 after you've paid taxes on all your earnings, given of your life to the fucking system, contributed 80% of all your slave money back into the fucking system indirectly through taxes. And they go, you're now going to go off into the fucking golden years. And then you wake up and realize there's no money for fucking retirement. You know why? Because government prescribed the fucking funds that you worked so hard for. Okay? And by the way, still going to tax you on that fucking retirement income. And then you fucking die, never actually really having fucking woken up and lived.
Yeah.
And that's the problem.
You were sleepwalking. But I think most people don't realize that. Because
No.
the truth is too painful to accept them.
Of course.
So I would rather continue to mind fuck myself and believe the lie
Yes.
and sell myself that I lived a great life.
Let me go buy another fucking handbag. Let me go buy some more fucking shoes because it'll make me happy. It'll make me fucking happy. Let me go and fucking join the gym and pump fucking iron. Listen, push-ups for fucking free and you should do them at home. But no, you need a gym membership now. The whole system is designed to keep you consuming. Your fucking house. You sold this dream of a house, primary residence. I'm very glad that you're fucking renting because if you understand that primary residence is a fucking net outflow of cash, it's not an asset. And you're running your business from here, so that's even fucking a totally different layer. But here's the thing. You get your and I tell people this all the time, there's no state of permanence, right? You buy a fucking apartment when you first get on the property ladder, then you pop out 2.3 kids. Now you need a bigger fucking house. So you sell the fucking apartment, you go into the fucking bigger house, then the fucking kids leave you. Then you realize, I can't be in this house on my own. Then you go back to the fucking apartment. Then you go, oh, my knees don't work anymore. I better get something on the fucking ground floor. There's no state of permanence in the box that you're living in. And here's the thing. These boxes were not designed to be homes. They were designed to be fucking instruments of the financial industry. It's to sell you fucking money. You muppet. And you think you're fucking financially free by buying a bigger fucking house.
But there's so many things that you can argue is like everything is
everything.
Like a credit card. I mean, you are a walking money making machine for institutions.
Yep.
Most people have a credit card for their entire life.
Yep.
And they pay their monthly fee on a credit card their entire life.
Yeah. Compound on compound on compound on compound, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Albert Einstein, you know, the saying, compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. Those who understand it, earn it. Those who don't, pay it. And we got a whole fucking bunch of people running out there with their fucking black credit cards and their fucking new Mercedes-Benz shopping at Woolworths thinking they fucking arrived. Motherfucker, you ain't arrived.
Yeah.
You're a fucking slave.
Yeah.
You're a slave with a bigger income. And this is what I try and tell people. Financial freedom is not about income. Financial freedom is about replacing income. There's a whole bunch of people buying dumb shit on primary source of income.
Yeah.
Who should never be buying that dumb shit. When I go and buy something and I finance it, and I do finance it because it makes sense. I do the numbers in the equation. I finance a non-primary income. Non-earned income. I'm literally playing with other people's money.
Yes.
And this is the danger of Robert Kiyosaki's information. Because a great concept, rich dad, poor dad, I get it. But then the same fucker who's running off to Woolworths with his black credit card and fucking AMG says, oh, I'm using the bank's money. No, you dumb f***. You're using the bank's money on your primary source of income.
Yes.
OPM, other people's money, only works on non-primary income.
Yeah. But I think that is because people they twist things to suit them.
Of course.
Robert Kiyosaki says debt is good.
Yeah.
In what context?
Exactly.
So and if you don't educate yourself financially, read a book on finances, read a book on the economy.
Yep.
If you don't understand how it works, then you are just gonna get by debt.
Correct.
So I agree with you 100%. I mean, the rent that I pay here is non-primary income that I use. You know.
And the other thing is debt is very layered. Like we don't understand the layering in debt. The average, because I've done deep financial modeling. So you go from the World Bank to your central banks to the retail banks. You understand fractional reserve banking. Then you look at derivatives in the market. You look at the fucking options that are being traded between countries on bonds. But if we all fucking go tomorrow and say, show me the money, you'll be horrified to understand there ain't no money. You've been fucking living in literally crypto world for the last fucking 50 years of your life. It's all just fucking, it's pretend.
I had coffee with a mate of mine last week. So he has to draw cash to pay the staff, right? One of his businesses, they do construction work. So he's got to pay the staff. He had to go to 4 different net banks.
Yep.
Because not one of them could give him 50k in cash.
Yeah.
He got 5k from the one, he got 15 from the other, and I don't know. But he had to go to different banks because they did not have cash.
Can I give you a great story about slavery? I had a builder who we built 20 houses together. Because I love architecture, I love building, and it was a big passion in my early 20s. And every fucking Friday I'd see his pay his staff in 10 rand notes. And I said to him, Reeves, what the fuck are you doing? He said, my man, you don't understand. You give them 200 rand notes. They think they've been done in. You give them it in 10 rand notes. They think they got a lot of money. This is literally what is happening in our financial system. That is exactly what is happening in the financial system. If you understand that layering, and here's the thing, guys, you can't break the system. That system, we will not break that system.
No, we won't break it.
So you
But
need
can
to.
it under the radar.
You need to learn how to use that system against itself. So people ask me, what are your net worth? By the way, it's one of the most Googled terms around my name. One of my partners said,
Mine as well.
what
You
is
said
Justin
twice.
Harrison's net worth? I'm proud to say my net worth is fucking zero. In fact, no, I'm lying. Let's see what I got here.
Minus.
I'll tell you what I got here. I got a couple of $100 in my pocket. That's my net worth. Because nothing is in my fucking name. Because I understand that leveraging and using the vehicles that are out there, I provide a level of A, insurance, B, anonymity, and C, and most importantly, the fucking tax benefits. And so when you use structures, there's a little thing called tax deference. You can't avoid tax, and you should never, because you go to fucking jail for it, right? But you can do tax deference if you're smart. And smart people understand that the worst asset to fucking own is cash. My objective is to make as much fucking money as possible and then get rid of it. Go buy hard assets. Because I don't want to own the medium of exchange. I want to own the asset. Or as our good friend Julius says, Julius always says, it's all about the means of production. Goddamn right, that motherfucker's right. I want to own the means of production. I want to own the money machine.
It's cash flow. It's
100%.
about cash flow.
100%.
That's what
and this is the basis of personal finance. Money in, money out. But all you dumb fuckers out there are doing this. Money out. You get your fucking paycheck. Debit order is gone. The fucking second of the month hits. You got no fucking money left. Because why? You got a 30 grand car repayment on a fucking 80 grand salary.
But that's why I like your whole. You usually start off when you have a conversation with people. You address the audience. You start off with energy, and money is energy.
Yep.
And I like that because it forces people to say, what the f-? And then they got to think differently about money, because most people believe that if I have a large amount of money, then I will be good. And it's delete everything that you learned about money. Delete everything that you know about it and go start from scratch. Through books or fucking actual hectamillionaires or multi-millionaires or whatever, because money is absolutely not what varsity or institutions or school taught you.
Well, that's why I wrote 7 personal finance books, and all of them are fundamental building blocks. The first one was Money Secret. Everything you've been taught about money is wrong, because it's a f***ing transfer of energy. And when I had this major epiphany, I was like, this motherfucker Pablo Escobar, he had rats eating his money. His problem was the rats were eating his money.
Yeah.
Right? If that don't tell you there's a problem. Because why? And it's the same thing if you just transfer that to everyday people. I had this exact conversation less than 2 hours ago with someone. They said, I've got so much money in the bank. I said, do you understand you don't hold wealth in the bank? The bank is a medium of exchange. That's all it is. It's a way for you and I to transact. It's purely transactional. You're going to get your money out of the fucking bank as quickly as possible. It's like Bitcoin, bud. You pay me through Bitcoin. I want to fucking get that money out. I want to put it into something that's going to have value. And unfortunately, the middle class and lower than middle class have been taught that wealth is money in the bank. It ain't. It's medium of exchange. That's all it is.
Absolutely.
Well, 109 fucking businesses in, having spent 4 years on the back end of Wall Street, having fucking seen the real financial picture, because it's like rats in a maze. If you're in a fucking maze, yeah, you can figure out a couple of twists and turns, but it's only when you get to the top and look at the whole fucking maze that you actually understand how the system works. And there's no disrespect to the Jews out there. They're brilliant, but you must understand the Jewish population, in respect to the whole fucking population on earth, it's one of the smallest minorities on earth, control most of the asset. Now that's an interesting fucking concept. So what the question is, everybody goes, oh, these fucking Rothschilds. Listen, the question is why? And when you go back to the fundamental principles of money in both Islam and in Judaism, they're very fundamentally the same fucking principles. Live on 50% of what you earn, because earned income is your greatest catalyst to wealth. People think, oh, I need to earn more money. No, motherfucker. motherfucker. You need to earn more money and spend less money so that you can increase the gap of available disposable income. You use that available disposable income to go and generate wealth. I, for 8 years, was earning $10,000 a month. It went up, but when I started, $10,000 a month, right? I was living on $800 a month, 10% of what I earned. I fucking slept on the floor for 3 years. Eventually treated myself. End of that second year, going to the third year, I was like, listen, I'm gonna go buy a fucking futon.
Not a bed, but a futon.
Because I can sleep on it and sit on it, right? I was that fucking cheap initially to get on that fucking thing. Now, listen, I know the arguments. I want to have nice shit now. If I earn a lot of money now, I get it, right? But for the average person who wants to generate wealth, earning more money is not going to solve your problem because you're going to have lifestyle creep. The more you earn, the more you spend. So what you have to do is become fucking financially disciplined. You want to catapult yourself to a fucking 100 million net worth? Get rid of all your shit. I'm telling you, get rid of all your overhead. And just take that money and fucking deploy like a fucking sniper. It'll get you there that much quicker. Then I hear the argument, but I want to live now, I want to enjoy the now. That's fucking fine, my man. When I'm looking down at you in my G5, I'm happy with the sacrifice I made.
Well, the thing is, if you want to leave generational wealth, and most people talk about generational wealth, they don't understand what it is. They think they're leaving money behind. It's not money. It's knowledge. It's more than money. But I think it boils down to, it always comes back to the same thing. It's education. People just don't know. They don't understand what the system works like. They are in this vicious cycle of exchanging time for money, and like you say, the more money they make, they increase their living standards. But you need to understand the concept that money is energy, and that I need to take this energy, stash it until I have enough so that this can work, instead of me working or trading my time for it. Now I can use this to do that.
Exactly. It's like any resource. It's like money out of the fucking, it's like water out of the tap. Money is like water out of the tap. If you leave that tap open, it will run dry, no matter how much you have of it. So I was telling you the story earlier when I sold my business in the States and made a load of money. I nearly went and did dumb shit. First thing I wanted, I could access a jet. I could access a fucking yacht, right? But I clicked quick enough to understand that whether you got yacht problems or jet problems or fucking a puchi problem, it's the same fucking problem. It's all relative, right? Because if I take every cent I have and I buy a puchi, that's all my money gone. If I take every cent I have and I have a lot and I buy a yacht and it's gone, I'm in the same fucking position as I could just bought the puchi.
Yeah.
It's just that we added more zeros behind the fucking transaction.
Yeah,
Nothing is fundamentally different. You're still fucking poor. And this is why I say, I know people who have money but are fucking poor, my man. Because the measure of wealth is not the money. The measure of wealth is how you manage your resources. So if you're running around fucking driving dumb shit, living in dumb shit, carrying on like a dipshit, you're going to be a dipshit. And people, this is the message nobody wants to hear. Wealth is about being frugal. I know nobody wants to hear this because in today's society, it's all about what fucking car you drive and where, like to really get your hands on the levers of fuck you power. Like we were talking about what is fuck you money. I'll tell you what fuck you money is. Fuck you money is how many passports do you own. Fuck you money is can you get onto the runway at an airport without having to go through security because they fucking meet you on the tarmac, right? Fuck you money is can you get in front of the president of a country. Fuck you money is can I change where I live at an instant, at a heartbeat, drop of a heartbeat. That's fuck you money. Fuck you money is my institutional wealth so well fucking hidden, right, that no matter what the fuck I say, ain't nobody coming for me.
Yeah.
Right?
I can't take it all.
And that's fuck you money. Fuck you money is not, hey, I got more than the next circle, or I don't have to answer to anyone. Everybody has to answer to someone somewhere. There's always going to be somebody who's got more money than you. So it's not about how much money. That's not fuck you money. Fuck you money is about how well have you set up the process. How well and bulletproof is that process? I can argue, I know people who earn 100 grand a month who are fucking completely bulletproof. Dollars I'm talking about. Completely fucking bulletproof. And I know people earning $1 million a month, dollars, who are fucking nowhere near being bulletproof. God, if they say the wrong fucking thing, they get cancelled or whatever, they
Ready or not, here we come. Rise for the rulers. You were in the presence of a legendary movement made for the great.
This oak knows what he's talking about.
And we fired up the level of revolution. Yeah, get louder. Whole city crowd.
I paid off my debt.
Gates head first like a wild buck. No days off.
Thank you many times.
This works. It's changed my life. It is still changing my life.
You're gonna see the difference in your life.